Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pixel Junkies podcast, episode number 183. It is October 26, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew, and I'm joined by...
I'm Aaron.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Rory.
Alright.
And boy, have we got an episode for you tonight. Aaron, what are we playing on tonight's episode of the Pixel Junkies podcast?
So we're playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I was gonna play it up like it being a cult game that nobody's heard of, but it's useless. Everybody knows what this game is. Everybody's waiting for this game, and it's finally out.
Is this the most topical game we've played on the podcast?
No, because remember that one time when Trump was elected and we played Doom? Wah, wah! That's what you get with 4 years of political science study and an honors degree in the same.
Oh, it was a joke.
Yeah.
I thought we actually played Doom for a minute. Well, there you go. Red Dead Redemption 2 is out finally after, I guess they announced this, like 3 years ago? 2 years ago?
Something like that.
I guess there's been signs that it's been coming out for a long time, but here it is in our hands finally. And you can probably hear the PlayStation taking off in the background. I'll try and get rid of as much of that in the audio as I can, but it is, I guess, a demanding game because the PlayStation is louder than it's ever been trying to play this. But it's I don't know. I guess we'll dive into talking about this because me and Andrew have been playing this for a little bit.
I got about 6 hours. How about you? What's your playtime at?
Maybe 8 to 10 hours.
Wow, talk about a loser.
But when this came out, I was waiting for it at like 1:30 in the morning last night because for some reason we're on Eastern American time and midnight.
I like the idea of Aaron
AM.
sitting in his chair with his knees wrapped up around his, like, up to his chest, his arms wrapped around his knees, rocking back and forth in his pajamas, like waiting, like a kid at Christmas.
Pretty much, yeah.
The only unrealistic thing about that was him being in pajamas. Because we all know that he was just naked.
Oh yeah, no, there was no pants.
Couch.
I had to put a blanket down so my ass wasn't sticking to my leather chair, but you know.
Yeah.
You don't need any Hershey cases on the leather. But anyway, yeah, about 8-10 hours. So I think story-wise, me and Andrew are at about the same point. We were talking about it a little bit before we started the podcast. So I think we probably have about the same amount of experience with the narrative. Oh shit, I'm about to get fucked here.
Even with that playtime, though, I feel like neither of us have even scratched the surface of this game yet.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. Like an hour, I was thinking about like what are we gonna do in the podcast for an hour, and I mean you're gonna accomplish nothing no matter what you do in an hour. Because there's just so much to do. The world is massive. There's so much detail in every square inch. Like there's animals everywhere that can all be hunted. You can like follow their tracks, follow their scents. Once you kill them, like it depending on how well you killed them. If you have to shoot it a bunch of times to kill it, that'll degrade its pelt and its meat. So if you're better at killing it, you can get more money for the pelts, or you can use them for higher quality items. And then like quartering up the animals. Like there's so much detail in every small facet of the game that you can just spend like the whole real world day doing nothing but that thing and still not see all of it. There's like 180 animals or something. There's like 50 different kinds of fish. There's 50 different plants that you can get. Like there's even like 20 or 30 different hats that you can buy and wear. And like if you kill somebody who has a hat, you can pick it up and keep that hat if you want it. Same with animals or horses. If you find someone's horse, you can steal it and sell it or keep it as your own. The way horsemanship, I guess that's the word. The way that works in the game is very cool. It basically in the previous game, horses were kind of randomized a bit. Like you could buy the deed to a horse and you could summon it whenever you wanted, regardless of if it died or not. In this, when a horse dies, it's gone. But you can keep a horse by putting your saddle on it. So like no matter what horse you have, you can own multiple horses in this game now.
Ooh, multiple horses.
Yeah, and you can keep them in a stable. And just depending on what horse has the saddle on it is the one that you can keep as your main horse. Which is very cool because you can sort of bond with your horse now as well.
Yeah,
And
I mean, there are different breeds of horses too, and
there's multiple
each
kinds.
horse has its own stats. So if you find a horse that's like, hey, I like your stats.
Yeah, there's like different breeds, but also different kinds. Like there's work horses that are very like massive horses that are just like way too brutish to ride around in the woods. Some are race horses, some are like war horses that have a lot of health, and there's different characteristics and attributes that play into those strengths. It's really in depth. Like the more you bond with your horse, the less skittish it will be in combat. Or just earlier when I was playing it, I was like looking out over this vista next to a train track, and a train went by, and as the train was going by, the horse just started to like freak out more and more at the noise until it got to the point where it was like, this thing is gonna throw me off. But there's a number of systems in the game as well that allow you to like communicate with your horse and calm it down. You can feed it and groom it. You store all of your things on it, so that your horse is basically like your mobile hub for when you're not at camp.
You really have to feed and groom it in the same way that you have to feed and groom yourself, essentially. Because
that is also true. Yeah,
all these systems tie into how healthy your character is and how healthy your horse is, and depending on their health levels, they'll be shit in combat or be good in combat, whatever.
Yeah, so if you don't eat, the system is now, you can see on my screen, there's a number of different, like, you have like your stamina and your health. Those have the cores in the middle, and those determine like how quickly you'll regenerate health, how quickly you'll regenerate stamina. And if you don't eat like the proper foods, those will deteriorate over time. And if you don't eat, then it just won't regenerate. You'll like slowly wither away, as will your horse. And consequently, or inversely, if you overfill those cores, you'll start to gain weight, and that has negative effects as well. So you'll be like, you'll gain weaker attributes. You won't be able to run as fast, or your horse. It's really cool. It's like it's a survival game, but without all of the mundaneness of it. It's like it kind of allows you to really feel like you're living Arthur's life, but without having to like spin these plates constantly, because it really at no point have I experienced it becoming cumbersome. It doesn't feel like it gets intrusive, like I need to go out of my way to find something to eat.
Yeah, right.
Same with the horse as well. Like you'll find enough stuff in your travels to feed yourself and your horse, so it's never really a big problem. It's really good. A lot of those systems really play into one another very well, I find.
Have you left somebody on the train tracks yet?
I have not.
No, neither have I. I'm just wondering how much they explode.
I could probably do that now, because I just found an outlaw dude who I could probably throw onto tracks. Let's see.
Yeah. The gore is pretty cool. I kind of miss the ballooning heads from the first one. Like when you shoot a guy in the head, there's no big gore balloon out the back of his head. There's no exit wound.
Oh yeah. I remember now.
I know
it had like this popcorn that came out of people's heads, stuck onto their skulls and shit.
That's gross.
It was kind of gross. It is still incredibly graphic.
Oh yeah.
One of the first things I did was
you can blow off limbs and stuff in this one, but
yes.
there's no exit wound decals like in the first game.
Is it rootin' tootin'?
It's pretty rootin' tootin'.
There's no like, because the exit wounds in that game were like 3D geometry that like extruded from their body. In this game,
Yeah.
there are still exit wounds, but they're like textures.
Yeah.
But it's really well done. I shot one dude in the face with a shotgun, and I guess it was from a distance. His head didn't explode, which also happens. I shot one dude at point blank, and his head just erupted into like a bunch of pieces, and blood went all over the snow in the area I was in. But the other guy that I shot, I went up to him, and it was just like it's like it caved his head in or something. From the right angle, it looked fucking disgusting. Like this massive hole in the dude's head.
It's not just people now though either, because the skinning of animals is a lot more graphic than it was in the last.
Oh
game.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to avoid Red Dead stuff online, and I saw a GIF of the actual skinning of an animal. It's pretty realistic. From like,
It is
like
yeah.
it's probably the most realistic skinning of an animal I've ever seen in a video game. So it's absolutely astounding. Like, oh my god, this is in the game. Pete is gonna have fun with this.
Yeah, and again, it's got like it has all the detail without the mundane. Because like you'll kill an animal depending on what it is. If it's really small, like a rodent, Arthur will probably just put it in his bag. But like getting up to like raccoon sized, you can pick them up and bring them into a trader and sell them, or you can skin them and take out their meat. And if you like, you can only carry. It doesn't like magically disappear into your bag. The animals need to be hung from your horse, and obviously your horse can only carry so much.
Hung like a horse, you mean?
Yeah, basically. And the if you like, because I've been like gone on day trips hunting. If you leave the meat on your horse for a day or so, it'll start to rot and like decompose. Like you'll get like black mold and stuff on it, and that obviously decreases the value of it. It's just really cool. And like the different size. I haven't really killed any massive animals yet. I killed an elk that I couldn't take with me. I think Arthur just cut some like steaks out of it and left the carcass on the ground. But otherwise, you can sell the carcasses and that sort of thing. It's a great system. I really like how it's done. The animation and everything. It's very detailed without taking too long, I think.
Yeah. The story's great too.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't gotten too far into the story, obviously, but what I've seen, I've really liked.
I heard that
Arthur's a great character.
I heard there's some sort of snake in the boot.
Oh man, spoilers.
Yeah, and somebody poisons a water hole at one point.
I would like to see a mod of this game that's just lines from Woody's Roundup. There's a snake in my boot. Someone's poisoned the water hole. Reach for the sky. It's like the same 8 voices all like over and over and over again.
Yeah, the opening of the game is very well done. The music, the audio, the story, everything is really well done.
Do they? Because one of my favorite things about Red Dead 1 was the menu theme. Was it Born into Trouble? I think this is the name of that. And it really did set the mood of the game. So I'm wondering if it has a similar sort of feel to the opening of the original game. Because that was one of my I remember turning the game on and just hearing that like slow moroseful whistle, and it's just like, oh my god, like instant got my Western on. Like it was so evocative. It was great.
Yeah, this has a distinct feel from the last one, but it is still very reminiscent of it.
Oh, okay.
So I think you'll be pleasantly, maybe not surprised, but I think you'll like
delighted
what you hear and what you see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. There's just so much to talk about in this game that we could just do the whole podcast and still not talk about everything. But it's I would say definitely thus far, as far as I've played, the game of the decade for me.
Oh really?
And oh yeah, for me absolutely. And I would say easily Rockstar's best game.
What's the parameters of the decade? Is it 2010 to 2020? Yeah. Is that the idea?
Like I know we still got 2 years left. but
even better than Elite Dangerous.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I like Elite at him, but it's not perfect.
I'm not ready to say something like that yet.
No, I'm not. I'm not definitively saying it either. But so far, that's where my head is at. I'm very much enjoying this.
I haven't played it, but it's probably not a bad choice. As far as games of the decade goes, that's a pretty hard thing to pick. But...
I think, I think a lot of that stuff is subjective in terms of the topic that it's chosen, like the setting and the feel that it's going for. I think it, again, so far nails all of it. The characters feel great. A lot of them are from the first game, so you can kind of see where all those characters started out as into where they're going to go into the next game. Like I played a game of dominoes with Abigail, and it's just like it's nostalgic while also just being awesome. It's just something very simple is done so well.
All the characters you interact with, all the people in Dutch's gang are just so well written and so realized that it feels like you're interacting with real people, really.
Yeah, and the way that like your camp works, because your gang effectively has a main camp that you can like hunt for. You can go and kill stuff and bring it back to them, and they'll make food with it, and you can like actually eat the food. If you wake up with people in the morning, you can like go have a coffee and talk with them. You can walk around the camp and like do chores, chop wood for them if you want. You don't have to do any of that stuff if you don't.
Sounds like Woody's Roundup if I've ever heard it.
But like the cool part about it is like you can interact with these people in a positive or a negative way, and that will reflect. Like if you just completely neglect helping the group, then that will reflect. Like you could just go off and hunt for a week and never not come, and then come back and start eating food and stuff, and people will be like, well, where the hell were you? Why aren't you helping us? Or Dutch will ask you to go do something, and you wait a couple of days. He's like, can you go do this, please? Like I asked you to do this. So it's just it's really cool to see such detail, like down to you're riding maybe too far behind somebody you're talking with, and then Arthur will start yelling at him rather than talking sort of in a regular voice because he's really far ahead of you. Like the fact that I don't know how much dialogue they would have had to record.
A lot.
That's like not even used because you're riding close or far away to somebody. It's insane the amount of detail.
Yeah,
it's really good. Just the atmosphere of the group and the world and everything is perfect.
I really like the themes so far.
Like the story themes, the musical themes.
Yeah, no, the story themes that I'm seeing already. I mean, Red Dead Redemption 1 was heavy with the redemption arc, and so far this one's not that at all, really. It's about Arthur pretty much wishing he could change, he could be different than who he is, and that's right now that's the struggle in the story. It's really interesting because he's not a good guy at all.
Or is he the best guy?
Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. I mean, some guy challenged me to like, hey, I bet I can shoot bottles better than you. And then I lost, and so I blew his face off. So he's not a great guy.
Or is it that
I guess I'm not a great guy either. Yeah.
I put that on Arthur, man. That's all you.
No, I lost gracefully, and he was like, I guess you suck. And then I was like, I guess you're fucking faceless.
So I put this guy. Oh shit! Okay, they don't like me. I put the guy on the train tracks, and I think the cow catcher pushed him out of the way. But the success, whatever the friggin' word is, successive cars like smashed his head off the ground or something because he just died for no reason. And then the dude on the caboose is very mad at me now. So he didn't explode.
You can't get on somebody's caboose without consent, Aaron.
I probably should have put him more in the middle of the track, but I was hoping the wheel would cut him in half.
Oh.
But I just pushed him out of the way. I guess the cow catcher was too low.
I'm sure. It was such an iconic thing in the first game. I'm sure the exploding dastardly achievement is still in here.
Oh, maybe. If I had put him in the middle.
Fucking dastardly and what's his name? Oh my God, what's that character's name? Dudley Do-Right.
Oh man, the greatest movie. Brendan Fraser at his finest.
It was an old cartoon before then.
Nope. It's Brendan Fraser. Remember when he jumped a canyon in a dirt bike? Best moment in film history.
He jumped Kenya?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I know. Best film and best scene in movie history.
Jumping Kenya? Yeah.
Sounds like one of those feel-good minority adversity films or whatever. Jumping Kenya.
Minority adversity.
Well, you know what is minorities?
Got completely in the other direction here.
Alright, fill in the blanks, man. Anyway.
Yeah, so Red Dead, cool game. We haven't played much of it, but so far, so good.
Super great, great game.
Oh shit.
Rory,
Yeah, what's up, man?
what's this next thing on the list here?
Oh yeah, the Boba Fett movie was canceled.
There was a Boba Fett movie?
Yep, yeah, it was
I think
supposed to
they
be
told us
directed by
about it.
James Mangold, who did Logan, which obviously everybody loved Logan. Yeah, so it was kind of weird because the news surfaced like a little while ago that we're gonna do this Boba Fett movie, but it never like officially got like the news was just out there, but it was never formally announced. It was just like, yeah, there's a Boba Fett movie and this guy's doing it, but now it's been formally canceled.
Yeah, you know why? Do you know why?
No, they have not said. They had no comment.
I know why.
Here comes the
I've got
Catholic
the
Kennedy.
I've got
Variety
the,
doesn't know why. How do you know why?
I have the inside scoop here.
Okay.
It's because there's a TV show coming out. You might have heard of it.
That's
it's
right.
called The Mandalorian.
That's true as well.
Yeah.
And
The
to be
guy's
fair,
guy's wearing the same type of armor that Boba Fett wore, and Disney didn't make Boba Fett, so they're like, we didn't make this character. This character barely even exists.
I actually don't think you're I might kind of agree with you there. Not maybe necessarily for the same reasons, but I do think this probably had something to do with the fact that The Mandalorian is coming out. And to be honest, I think that's a better investment.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what the show is. The show might be shit.
I mean, it's Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau is good.
Yeah, you're right.
He was a good chef.
I mean,
Maybe he saved it already. Like, maybe they're like, here, we're gonna do all this stuff with Boba Fett, and John was like, no, don't do that.
Did he write Iron Man 3?
You're thinking Shane Black. Shane Black is who you're
directed
thinking
that.
of. The writer of Iron Man 3 was Shane Black. He did like
okay.
Predator. And then he did Predators.
Kiss Bang Bang would be the
Predator.
The best one.
He also did The Nice Guys, which I haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a good movie.
I'm sure it's good. I just I so rarely delve into comedy, but Kiss Bang Bang was excellent. Top
think-
tier.
Yeah,
I think,
if you liked Kiss Bang Bang, you'd like The Nice Guys.
I'm probably
I
gonna
think
have to
John
watch it
knows what
now.
he's doing at this point.
I'm more excited about a Jon Favreau project than a James Mangold project. That's
Yeah.
truth be told. But also because I wasn't quite as enamored with the Wolverine as a lot of people were. So
I don't think I saw that.
It's okay.
it's
that
okay. I
the-
feel is the definitive thing to say about
Was
it.
that the samurai one?
Yeah.
That's right.
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
It was really good compared to Origins.
Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, I just tossed that in there real quick because that story came on Variety about an hour ago. So I just sort of tossed it in there between topics really quick.
Right on. Well, yeah, I guess, do all your wacky shit in the Mandalorian show and not ruining Boba Fett. Even though, movie-wise, Boba Fett's not particularly established.
Hey, Rory again.
Yeah, what's up, man?
How's Soul Calibur?
It's really good.
It's got the best character customization in any game. I don't give a damn.
We're gonna talk about that the character. So before I like sort of quote. I'm not gonna say I'm reviewing Soul Calibur because I'm not, because you can't review something after playing it for 8 hours. But I do want to talk about it.
That's very un-game critic of you.
I do want to say
it's very unjournalistic.
So one of the things about this game, not just because fighting games are more popular.
You're calling me out, Rory?
Because no, I wasn't calling you out at all.
I don't think so.
But
Game of the decade.
But because it's
that wasn't definitive.
Soul Calibur is so popular, it's going to be reviewed by people who have sort of varying experiences in fighting games, and that is good. I like that. I think it's cool to see, like, you know, what do newcomers think of it? What do old veterans think of it? That's always interesting, and it'll tell you a lot probably about what kind of success the game is going to have. But I think people should be very, I'll say, wary or cautious about reviews that talk about balance in particular, because, you know, if you're new to fighting games, let's say you jump online, you're like a kind of new fighting game player. Maybe you played some Street Fighter back in the day or something, and you jump online. And you encounter some dude, he's playing, and he's doing the same move over and over again. And even though he's doing the same move over and over again, you don't know how to deal with it. And it's doing, you know, metric tons of damage.
Like Kazuya's uppercut, for example.
Sure, yeah. Kazuya's electric, right? Which is a very good move. So you don't know how to deal with it. It may be tempting to say, oh, this move is overpowered, or this move is cheap or something. But really, you know, maybe that move is sidesteppable or it's duckable or something. It's balanced. It's just balanced around a mechanic that you don't understand yet. So that's something you want to bear in mind when you're listening to a critic and they're talking about balance. Is what is their experience? Like we actually have a video clip about a month after Tekken came out. We played it. We all played it on the Pixel Junkies channel, and Aaron found this move that proved very effective for him, that basically obliterated all of us. And that move isn't cheap at all. We didn't know how to deal with it. You know, that's on us, not on the move.
And that's why I'll never play it again.
Yeah, so Aaron has decided to sort of quit while he was ahead. But yeah, I just wanted to say that before getting into it. Now, Soul Calibur. So there's 2 story modes.
Ooh.
And
does it have the worst narrator ever?
There's no Tekken narrator, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, dang it.
Which is already sort of an interesting improvement. So the 2 story modes are called Libra of Soul and Soul Chronicle. Oh, Jesus. I get flashbacks sometimes to that. So Libra of Soul is you create a custom character, and you go your way through this almost like... It's almost an RPG-styled story. I found it to be exceptionally dull, the part of it that I played. But the important thing it does have is the tutorial, and I want to talk about that. Because there's sort of a spectrum of tutorial quality. On the one end, you have Tekken, which has no tutorial, which is sort of by default the worst tutorial. And then on the other hand, you have really great tutorials like BlazBlue has, not the most recent one, the one before that, has a really exceptional tutorial. And it's so good that the characters who take you through the tutorial, which are main characters in the game, you get to learn their personalities just by playing the tutorial. And I think that's like a really good accomplishment. And this falls sort of somewhere in the middle. It teaches you all the mechanics, but it does so in a really unusually styled way, where you like finish a lesson and then you'll get this sort of brief aside from your master who will say something. He'll be like, you should visit this guy up in this region, he's a good swordsman. Anyway, on to the next lesson. It's very disjointed and narratively awkward.
Sweet.
But the tutorial itself, the content of it is sort of, it's fine. It's whatever. The other story mode is Soul Chronicle. That's actually much more tolerable. You actually play as the characters of Soul Calibur, as opposed to creating your own sort of like fan fiction style character and taking their story through the Soul Calibur universe, which I find just totally bland and dumb. It's dumb.
Well, then they'd have to, like, if they wanted to do that, they'd have to do something really in depth, or it'd be a very shallow, kind of gimmicky, arcadey experience where you and Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob go on an epic journey through the Soul Calibur universe, where you will eventually defeat Nightmare or whoever the fuck has Soul Calibur and win it and get, I don't know, what does it give you, a wish?
But
I don't understand. I really don't understand anything about. I like Soul Calibur. It's probably my favorite of the fighting games because it's easy to get into. But I don't understand anything about Soul Calibur. So I don't know why people want this sword. For example,
So there's an evil sword and there's a good sword.
yeah, because Soul Calibur and Excalibur, isn't it something? Or
No.
no,
It's
is
Soul
it good
Calibur and Soul Edge. Soul Edge is the evil one.
Yes, that's right.
Oh.
The so yeah, the lore and to be honest, the Soul Calibur lore, in my opinion, is the least impactful. It's not to say it's bad, but it has the least impact on your game.
But you get Lizard Man, Rory.
Yeah, the lizard men are cool.
How's Geralt?
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting he's in that game now.
So I haven't played Geralt yet. But a person, I sent you guys the Frame Whisperer review of Soul Calibur, and in his opinion, I do trust his opinion, and I imagine I'll probably end up agreeing with it when I play Geralt. But he said the new characters are the worst characters. Not to say that they're bad at playing the game, but that they have the least interesting sort of role in the game.
Well, every other character has had what number is this?
6.
6. They've had 6 entries to
build, exactly.
Yeah, to really come alive as fighting game characters.
Yes, exactly. But I think he is at least a mid-tier fight in terms of his ability. I think he was quite well introduced into the game based on what I've read.
Is he better than Starkiller?
No. He was never in those games. I thought wasn't he just Yoda and Darth Vader?
No, Starkiller was in there as well.
Oh no.
Vader was on the PS3 version,
That's
and
right.
Yoda was in the Xbox version, but Starkiller was in both.
Oh, la-di-da.
Yeah, they have some interesting guest, and I think, to be honest, out of all the guest characters, and I don't count Yoshimitsu because he's actually in Soul Calibur. Out of all the guest characters, I think Geralt is the most fitting. Well, certainly more.
I
than
liked Spawn.
Yoda. Oh, Spawn! I forgot about Spawn. You know what? Kind of never mind, because Spawn is just cool.
My favorite is Ezio Auditore.
Ugh.
Hey, that's my culture. Or whatever.
So I've sort of it feels like most of what I've done so far is trash Soul Calibur, but it is really good. But I feel like I should save the pros to the end. So one story mode is interesting to me, and the other story mode is not interesting to me. But I guess it's good that they're both there. But sort of as Adam talked about, and Adam had the right word for the custom character story mode. Adam said gimmicky, and that's what it is. It's a gimmick.
But you get to play as Mr. Krabs or Dunk Dimmadome or whatever.
Yeah, and Pepsi Man, yes.
Pepsi Man and Magikarp.
So that would be fun, and this is sort of the elephant in the room as far as the conversation around Soul Calibur goes now. Custom characters. So the essential issue. So ask any fighting game player at a competitive level, and they'll tell you if you don't have matchup knowledge, you don't have anything as far as playing the game goes. So when I'm playing Tekken, I pick my character, whatever character. I'm playing Dragunov in Tekken, right? He's a popular character, one of the most used. And I end up in a match, and I'm playing against a Lucky Chloe player. So I know that Lucky Chloe's hop kick, I think, is minus 16 on block, which means that if I block that hop kick, I can do a 16 frame move, and that means with that I can get a full combo off of that. So it's very what we say punishable.
Too, right?
Rory, we all know this. Move on with it.
But the point is to play properly against Lucky Chloe. I need to know that, right? I need to know what the matchup is. What is Dragunov versus Lucky Chloe? What does that look like? So if I'm playing Soul Calibur, and I'm playing whatever character I'm playing in Soul Calibur, Tira.
Lizardman.
Tira, as it would turn out. And I'm playing against Valdo, right? Because every custom character, when you build a custom character, you can't just build a fighting style from the ground up. It just gets the fighting style of one of the other characters. So Valdo has certain properties. So you've made whatever, some character, Bob. Right? Bob is your custom character, and he's just Valdo with like a T-shirt. Except it's not Voldo.
Casual
Voldo. Yeah, casual Friday Voldo. But it's not Voldo because Bob is shorter than Voldo and has a different hitbox. It's like my matchup knowledge is now gone, and hell if I'm learning the matchup for every single random asshole who can make his favorite waifu in the Soul Calibur creator.
Hey, you
Like,
leave
that's
Bob
madness. Like it's infuriating. It's like this. Yes, Soul Calibur is for everyone, and like Adam's 100% right. Soul Calibur is the easiest game to get into, but it's like, don't screw over the people who actually want to get online and compete. It's like, you think you're playing against Voldo, but then all of a sudden you aren't, and Bob, it takes a round off of you, and it's horrible and embarrassing. And
Not only that, but if you do have that match knowledge, that matching knowledge you were talking about, and you're playing as the custom character, and your opponent isn't, then your moveset versus whatever character they're playing as.
Well, in that case, it should be only custom character versus custom character then.
They won't have knowledge of your hitboxes, right?
They won't. But it's bad for you, too, because maybe you think, now that I've played Bob, I know Voldo, but maybe moves that work with Voldo don't work with Bob. You know what I mean? Like, because you're still shorter or whatever. Maybe you're tall. You're probably not taller than Voldo. He's pretty tall. But,
so it just sucks.
yeah, it kind of screws everyone over. Now, I mean, let's face it, to a certain extent, it screws over the person more who's playing as the actual Soul Calibur character, because if you're playing as Bob, you're probably not a competitive player.
Right.
Like, you're probably just some guy. So, I will say that I've the queue timing in the game, for a game that is really popular and it just came out, I've had to wait extensive periods of time for a ranked match that could be time zone.
The queue time. I thought you were coming up with some more other obscure fighting game thing that you have to memorize. Anyway, the queue time for Voldo is 1.8, which is actually 3 Y's lower than, I don't know, who's another Soul Calibur character?
Ivy.
The dude with the big sword. Yeah, Ivy, that guy.
Nightmare.
That guy. Yeah, there's lots of Soul Calibur characters. But I will say it does have a small roster, which is good because it's manageable. So you actually can plausibly learn some matchup knowledge. And I will say, once you get into a ranked game, or if you're playing the Soul Chronicle story mode, which is my preferred one of them, the game is really good. It's beautiful. It sounds great. The connections I had were top level. You could search by connection, right? You could search by, only 4 bars and above. And it was just, it's fun, and it's just as, even though there's a couple more mechanics in this game than there have been in previous Soul Calibur games, it's just as easy to get into. I could totally see Andrew or Adam picking this game up and giving it a go.
Not Aaron?
Oh, definitely not played, apparently.
I suspect not Aaron, although I would say that Aaron would probably have fun with it if we were all sitting around playing it, which surely will. It's fairly certain that we're going to do a video, probably, maybe doing either a tournament or with someone playing the story mode or something like that.
Yeah.
Pick it up. It's really good. And I'm sure they'll fix the hitboxes. They better fix the hitboxes.
So that's Rory. Pick up this instead of Red Dead.
We should do a Soul Calibur series, a special series where we play every Soul Calibur game.
Well, the first 3 are
I'm
40 minutes
channel
long.
Now.
Actually, Adam, you could probably get through the first 2 in like 2 episodes. They're really short. But I think we should definitely do a bit in Soul Calibur 6. I think it lends itself to that.
Yeah, totally.
Andrew.
Yeah.
You've played Dead or Alive?
Yeah, I like Dead or Alive.
Well, the new one will be coming out in February, and you and I will both be picking it up.
Dead or Alive or Dead or Alive Extreme?
No, Dead or Alive, the actual fighting game, not the wildly more successful volleyball spin-off.
I wonder why that's more successful.
And it didn't even, the last one didn't even release in the West because they were nervous about the reception it would get.
They shouldn't have been.
Yeah, have some commitment. You own it. Who's even, why even kid, right? We all know that game. You know, like, that's just so ridiculous. Release the damn game so American fans can play it. I want the fans of that creepy-ass volleyball game to enjoy their game. But tell me about the roster. We're learning new characters all the time.
All right. Well, you'll never guess who was just announced for this new game.
Hayabasa?
Momiji.
No, it's Christy. You know, the character that's been in every other one?
Yeah, has been in all of them, yeah. Or basically all of them. Is that now?
Oh,
is that
I'm surprised.
I just brought up the roster here. It looks like I think Christie is the last one that's like obvious to be released, right?
Yeah, probably.
Like
I don't know.
all the other obvious ones seem to be here, like the ones that I've heard of. No Momiji, or however you pronounce that Ninja Gaiden character.
Ninja Hyde?
Which is
Jemima.
which will probably be my favorite character just by virtue of having been in Ninja Gaiden, which is a cool game, series I should say.
If not balls achingly hard.
Yeah. Well, it's her and Kasumi and Hayabusa are all Ninja Gaiden characters.
I didn't know. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, yeah. And Hayabusa's in this game too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there something happening in Red Dead?
Or is he just Aaron just confused by Japanese names?
No,
Like, Yoshimitsu, and Aaron's like, oh, I don't understand.
I'm sorry. There's a character called Bayman.
Yeah,
is
Bayman.
Is it Newfoundland?
Is it Bayman or Bayman in the game?
I think it's Bayman.
Oh, okay.
BAE, man.
Oh, he fights with Combat Sambo. Okay, he's Russian. Favorite food or drink? Beef stew. What the hell is this?
I feel like the
He
Japanese...
comes out and he's like, Borio loves me beef stew, what? And then he dies.
Everyone knows those Scottish Baymen. Oh, buddy, I love me beef stew. Oh,
That's not Scottish, but
That's Irish.
yeah, whatever.
We're all just awful.
We're all awful. That's the takeaway from the podcast.
love me a beef stew.
Man, I'm looking through some of these characters. They have some weird ass favorite food or drinks.
What's the weirdest?
The Princess Starda is Marie Rose's favorite food or drink. It's so weird that I don't even know what the hell it is. Oh, it's a princess cake. Oh, all right.
What? What?
A princess cake. It's a category of cake. It's a Swedish layer cake.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, and she's Swedish, so I guess it's not nothing.
So she's
I guess.
racist.
Yeah, she only likes the Swedish cake.
Damn elitist.
So.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
What was your favorite game of this year?
Probably Red Dead, considering you said it's the best game of the decade.
Probably Vampire.
Really?
Vampire's
You're
better than
right.
No,
Oh
he's
my
just doing
God.
a segue.
Well, you might be happy to know that your favorite game is coming to your favorite console.
Oh, really? As about
It's coming
time.
to the Nintendo
Engage?
Switch.
Oh my God.
All right,
I'll
so
turn this
it
off.
might as well come to the N-Gage. Like, not that I think the Switch is great.
Are you insulting the N-Gage?
I think the Switch is actually a really good idea, and I like a lot about it. I don't think there's any crossover in the demographic of people who would play Vampire and people who playing the Switch.
Oh, maybe. I'm sure there's like 3 people that only own a Switch and were interested in Vampire.
Well, that's good because they'll only probably ship 3 copies.
Ripperoni knows resources spent on that.
Yeah, really.
In other
though.
news, Don't Nod shuts down. Embezzling Telltale money or something. Nobody
Yeah.
buying the $70 Life is Strange Season 2, and nobody owns a Switch.
I just can't see playing it on the I think the Switch has some interesting titles, especially Breath of the Wild and
Odyssey.
and Odyssey, which is a lot of fun. What I've played of it, at least. I actually think like for PC gamers, there's legit reasons to get Nintendo handhelds. That's one of the few things I say if you're a PC gamer. If you're going to look into a console, I would say there's much more reason to get a handheld than there is to get
an
a
Xbox.
full-on console. I think it provides more extra utility. But come on, no one's gonna play this. It wasn't even that well loved on consoles where people were tuned to love it.
I don't think it sold very well either.
I mean, for the record, it's not a bad game.
No, it's not a
But
bad game.
It's not like, contrary to me making fun of Red Dead being a cult game earlier on, this very much is a cult game. So I don't know how they saw it being a financially good decision to make a Switch version. Maybe they're like, oh, maybe all the people who love this game are on Switch. I guess we'll pour all this money into this one. Nobody bought it elsewhere. They must all be on Switch. That's where the millions are.
But it doesn't even run properly on the things it's on right now. Why would it? How could it run? You know what?
Well, actually, it probably runs. What people are like, oh man, this runs great on Switch. Is garbage for everything else.
Yeah. Well, they might sink money into it such that it runs, and maybe the sort of compromises they'll have to make will save it from running horribly. I hope Don't Nod does better with their next game because they're cool.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah, there's a new one coming out, a new game. Do you remember
it's called
what the name is?
Something Dream or something like that, Midnight Dream or
Yeah, something like
There's
that.
a new
Dream
Don't Nod game?
Town or something.
Twin
Yeah,
Mirror,
it's like
Twin Mirror.
Twin
it says
Peaks
here.
and X-Files thing.
Oh, it's not Nights in the Dreams or whatever. Was that Dreamcast game?
Yeah, I think that was it, but that's not what it is.
Oh.
It's called Twin Mirror.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, just like Twin Peaks. Oh, plagiarism.
It's published. It's going to be published by Bandai Namco. That's an interesting choice.
Mm.
Aaron doesn't
We
like
got Aaron's
Bandai
response
Namco
there.
Here.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's just an interesting choice for
Name a great
game
Bandai Namco game.
Tekken
Dark
7,
Souls.
Soul Calibur 6, Dark Souls.
Halo 2. Oh no, wait.
Yeah,
those are
I
all
mean, I know
those
those
are all
games are
good
good.
games.
I don't like how they control. And considering how Vampire controlled, it's probably going to be the same.
That's a fair fair quarrel, I think.
Yeah.
Particularly if you played the PC port of the first Dark Souls. Ugh.
We did. It was a video.
Was it
There's
really?
Yeah, there's some really funny sticky bodies in it.
We played it with a controller, Rory.
Okay, yeah, that is better, yeah.
Yeah, the proper way. Bring it that peasant experience.
Oh, fuck, that hurt. Oh.
According to art director Pierre-Etienne Travers, the game's primary concept is duality.
Hence
Oh
the
man,
twin.
where's Jordan
Oh
at?
man.
That's a joke that not many people will get.
No.
Anyway, back to Terminator.
Hey, Adam.
What's your favorite movie to come out, this year, Jordan? I don't know, Terminator 2. What did he say?
It was
What-
Terminator 2, you were right.
Oh, was
yeah,
it?
that the
Okay,
quote,
good.
Yeah. It was not the year Terminator 2 was released, suffice to say.
No. Well,
Did he
since
say
no
it because
Terminator-
it had a re-release?
No, he just said
No,
it
he's
'cause
just an idiot.
He
'cause
watched
liked
it again. He
Terminator
watched it
2.
again that year. I think was the confusion.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe he asked you. Maybe he thought you asked what's the best movie you saw this year.
Yeah.
Also,
No, what was your favorite new movie to come out this year? And his response was Terminator 2.
Man, it looked like it was made in the 80s, boy. I was fucking sick. Fucking diddly job done on that, huh?
Adam, I know that you don't like Alan Wake.
No.
So
What? I put this on the list just for Adam because I
Oh,
thought you
no.
loved Alan Wake.
Well, I've bamboozled you again, Bazinga.
I only thought
Give
he
me
didn't
a
like Alan Wake because it wasn't on sale. He wasn't able to buy it.
I got it for
have-
free, and I didn't like
Now
it.
I have-
it. Yeah.
Now I have good news for Adam because it's now back on sale. they've resolved the copyright issues with the music.
Oh, good.
And now it's available, and it's actually on sale right now.
So you're telling me I can have a dog shit horror experience for money? Oh boy.
So if you're not
Dog shit horror experience.
if you're not up on your Pixel Junkies lore.
Stop calling it lore. If you're not up in your Pixel Junkies lore, you don't understand why Rory calls it lore.
It's very easily traceable. Adam does not like horror games that aren't scary. He doesn't like the sort of more he doesn't like the more atmospheric styled like horror genre blends like Fear and Alan Wake. He gravitates towards horror games that are horror games like Amnesia.
And Outlast.
No, I hate Outlast.
No, he hates Outlast because
he doesn't
like
even like
cliche,
horror games that are scary.
No, I see. I liked the problem. I mean, I can get into why Outlast is a terrible game. Well, not terrible. It's just a very lazy game. I
agree with Adam on this. When it comes to Outlast, like I adore Fear. I think Alan Wake is really cool, but I agree with Adam. I think Outlast is lazy and overrated. Actually,
I will say that Fear.
The second one in particular, yes.
Fear does not work as a horror game at all. But having heard your guys' arguments that it's actually just supposed to be just a shooter with scary elements, I have kind of looked back at my time with it, and I now have a new appreciation for what they were able to do as like a technical shooter. But it's still not like it's not like a horror game or anything. I'm still not like ooh horror.
And I sort of agree. I would hesitate to call it a horror game actually.
Yeah, I mean you shouldn't call it a horror game because it's not.
Well, I remember the only reason I call it a horror game is because when I was a kid and playing it, everyone was like, "Oh, have you played the new horror game Fear?" And it was just like labeled as a horror game because
that's how it's marketed too.
Spooky ghosts.
I think that was a marketing thing too. I think it was marketed more as a horror game.
The only thing that I found scary about Fear was I can't even remember what game it was for. It might even be a fan thing, but it was like an extended trailer for the game where it's live action people and there's a psychologist who's interviewing is it Alma? Is that what her name is?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got it right.
And she's and as the interview goes on, Alma is continuously like fucking around with this woman and making her see like scary ghosts and just butt fucking this poor psychologist's mind. It's actually really disturbing. I like that. That was well done. But in terms of like actual spooks, I didn't get very many because it's hard to be spooked in a game where you're a super soldier with like dual wielding, various weapons.
Yeah. I totally get what you mean. Now, Adam, you might not like Alan Wake, but I know you like Godzilla. And,
yes, I love Godzilla.
And although not as much as Godzilla, I know you also like what's he called? King Kong.
Yes.
Well. Have I got news for you? Godzilla versus Kong.
I love the idea that you're telling me that my child has been born or something. Like I'm waiting in the waiting room and you're like, have I got news for you?
So Godzilla versus Kong is a movie that's coming out in a couple years.
Yeah, 2020.
That's yes. And it's
blow him away now, Rory.
It's being directed by famously hit or miss director Adam Weingard.
What has he done?
So he's done amazing movies like You're Next and The Guest, and he's also done Death Note, the American film. So
not allowed to work.
So it's like Like I think The Guest is amazing. I think You're Next is amazing.
Did you watch Death Note?
I couldn't do it.
No?
No.
Then how do you know it's bad?
I
feel like Death Note. I haven't seen it either.
No, but I was saying it's known. But I think it's safe to say he's hit or miss because that movie was very poorly received. That's a miss.
Yeah, but it was
among audiences.
It was a live action anime thing, so. Of course, it's going to be badly received.
Yeah, but it's his fault for making it. Like he still did it. Like I sympathize.
We'll
sure.
give you $1 billion. Okay.
But maybe it's one of those things that's poorly received and is actually really good, but I'd still call that hit or miss.
Fair enough.
But Adam, you'll be very happy to know that Alexander Skarsgård is starring in your Godzilla versus Kong film.
Good. That was actually what I was gonna ask next is if he was doing that.
The if
otherwise known as Alexander Skarsgård, as you may pronounce it.
yeah. If you read it and like if you ignore sort of the symbols in it, it's spelled Skarsgård. So
I actually I forget who it was, but somebody was like, oh no, wait, I'm thinking of a different thing. Move on.
the Skarsgårds.
Good reference.
The Skarsgårds are a Swedish acting family.
Bless you.
Who are all excellent. Stellan, the eldest, has been in a number of hugely successful films like Good Will Hunting and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the American version, which is phenomenal. Bill has been in Hemlock Grove, and he was recently Pennywise in It, and he's sort of... I think that has earned him a lot of favor. He was also in the newest Deadpool movie. As the lanky, skinny guy, and Alexander is also good. He's best known for True Blood, probably because he was in a lot of episodes of that. But he was in Melancholia, and he was phenomenal in that.
Don't forget Battleship.
And it's also worth noting Tarzan as well.
Yeah.
Was he Tarzan?
Yes, he was Tarzan. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about now.
He's a great actor, although I mean they all sort of have like sometimes they do mainstream stuff, sometimes they do indie stuff, but they're all really good. So rejoice because he's going to be something in Godzilla.
Maybe he's going to be Godzilla. Maybe they're gonna do something stupid like make a humanoid god. Like we're gonna take Godzilla's genes and blend it with a human to create a Godzilla human hybrid, and then we're gonna make a park out of it.
He's a God Man.
God Man.
I will say
he's super religious, but that's just a coincidence.
Well, are you religious? Well, yes, actually, but I don't enforce my own beliefs upon you.
Oh, what a very progressive way of looking at things.
Oh, get out of my way before I squish you.
One thing I would say is that the Godzilla films, I generally think, do really good casting. I thought, like, Aaron Taylor Johnson was really good in the...
He and Elizabeth Olsen have really good chemistry.
Yes, I agree.
Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were great in Godzilla.
He's a sort of a... Like... They don't mind casting actors, which a lot of people would say are like sort of too good for the movies, but I don't really believe in that. Like, even though these movies, they may not have the acting depth of some other movies, I still think it's good to get the best talent you can get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, Bryan Cranston as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston in particular, I think is a great example.
And of course, let them fight.
Let them fight.
Maybe you guys, in your computers, of course, we have CPUs and we have GPUs.
And now we're getting XVUs.
Depending on what year your computer is from, you might have an APU, which is a combined GPU.
That's not what
CPU.
this is at all, Rory. Hey, Adam, who's your least favorite character on The Simpsons? If you don't say Apu, you're a racist scumbag.
Oh, I thought it was something Japanese, like Apu. They're getting rid of Apu. Apu.
The idea of Rory having this long spiel about this long computer thing, and Andrew's like, no, it's The Simpsons. Like the idea of Rory doing research for this topic and everything, and Andrew's like, nope, Simpsons.
I hate The Simpsons too.
Oh my god. Okay, yeah, anyway, what about Apu?
They're getting rid of him.
Oh, why? Why?
Racist. He's racist.
He's a racist?
No, the character's not
actor?
a racist. The character is racist.
Oh, the character. Well, yeah. Was that?
So they killing him off?
Wasn't
isn't
that
more
the
racist?
gag though? Like, was that not the...
They get rid of Apu by hanging him in the show. This super racist response.
I feel like getting rid of him is more racist. Like, depending on how they do it. I mean,
Did he recently say something or something?
There's been a big controversy.
He's played by a white guy.
He's what?
He's played by a white guy?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's racist.
Well,
But
I thought
no,
I literally
that's
thought the
progressive.
point of the character was that it was a stereotype. I thought that was the joke. Is that not the joke?
Yeah, it is the joke.
Kind of, but Apu's kind of a
Well,
positive stereotype at the same time.
Well,
Because he's this
We should
Successful
point
Well,
out
to
that
get rid of
business
Bart
guy,
as well
he's this-
because the
he's
voice
this
actor
good
for Bart is
father.
a woman.
Oh,
That's sexist.
I will say originally I think Apu was just meant to be a stereotype, but he did evolve into his own character. And like once the voice is like once you're familiar with, because I mean all the Simpsons characters, whether you like the show or not, you have to admit that the voice casting for the Simpsons has been pretty good. I mean, like if
I agree.
If you do, if anybody can do an impression of Homer Simpson and know what they are, but even like some of the obscure characters, you know who they are. You know what I mean? So if you go like I don't know, like Dr. Nick or Comic Book Guy, if you do an impression of their voice, then you're like most people are gonna be like, oh, it's the Comic Book Guy or Bumblebee Man or something like that, or Mr. Burns, you know. So it's a show with a very iconic voice cast and very iconic voices, probably more than any other show now that I come to think of it. And you know, once you have a voice down for a character, you can't really change it unless a character dies. I mean, they've famously killed off Mrs. Krabappel. Krabappel for when her voice actor died, rather than cast somebody else, which I think was a very very interesting and kind of respectful move.
So here's the thing. I thought that we already knew. The surprise here for me is that people are just now saying that Apu is racist. Like, I'm sort of like that's kind of the news part of this one for me. I'm kind of. Yeah, I think, if they just now realized he's racist and they now want to get rid of him, I'm like, yeah, okay.
No, it's not so much the creators doing it as a huge fan backlash.
But why
A huge
now? That's
internet
the part
mob
that's
forcing them
confusing
to.
me.
What just fucking happened? Alright. A guy challenged me to a duel and he collapsed in the street. Oh, fuck. I didn't even do anything. It's like, I want to kill... Like, okay.
Like, did he just had a heart attack or something?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's the ground's coming up real fast.
He probably beat
Face down in
Andrew
the
in a
mud.
bottle shooting tournament.
I like how
Anyway,
you were
go.
like, this character is morally complex. Anyway, this dude beat me in a ball championship, and I made my character kill him. I'm like, I feel like you're the villain here.
You know what? Win gracefully.
Glass bottle from me.
Win gracefully,
Son of a bitch.
or I'm going to blow your face off.
Anyway, for some
so
reason
yeah,
I was
so it's a fan backlash thing. So what? Oh,
Well,
yeah. Okay,
I
so
wouldn't,
I'm
I wouldn't
reading
call
it
it
right
a fan
now.
backlash. I would call it an internet mob.
So I've just read it. So it was
Fuck off,
there was,
man. They've been making The Simpsons since like the late '80s. Like, can it be retroactively racist, please?
I will say that obviously things change. Like if you go back and look at a good example of this is the Looney Tunes or Mickey Mouse cartoons, where they made some pretty goddamn racy jokes back in the 40s, and you can be like, oh well, it was the 40s. I mean, humor was different back then. Humor was different in the 90s. You know, public conception was there in the 90s. I'm not gonna say whether or not this is a good move, because frankly I don't have I don't have enough horses in this race to either care really, because Apu's was never my favorite Simpsons character anyway.
He wasn't like strictly a stereotype though. I mean, there were Apu episodes. Like they fleshed his character out. He wasn't like there to just be the butt of a joke. Like he was a character. Like I feel like getting rid of him is dumb because, you know, as cookie cutter as he might have been, he was still a character.
So-
he wasn't, you know.
for me, and I think Adam probably said my opinion just about as well as I could have said my opinion just now when he expressed his own. But I would add to that for me it's like part of your art, if you're making comedy, can be, if you choose to like sort of pay attention to it, can be audience feedback. Like part of it is generating a certain reception. So if you feel that your art is like, oh, these jokes aren't being laughed at, as a comedian, if you're not getting laughs, you change your material. If you're getting boos, you change your material. And to me, I don't view that as so much a hostile audience as it's sort of like just fixing if you're a painter and you're like, I don't like that red over there. Let me fix that. And you paint it blue
I
or
agree.
something. You know what I mean?
I just think it's dumb that that's the public perception now.
I can't say. I'm gonna have to. I'll go with Adam.
It's dumb
I'll
how
plead ignorance on
oversensitive
how
everyone
good
is.
or bad Apu is as a representation of.
I will say this. I don't know if Apu is I don't know, and nor do I care to comment about whether Apu is actually a racist character or not, because I frankly don't. You know, again, I'm not Indian myself. I don't know anybody who's even Indian, so I can't even be that guy who's like, I have lots of Indian friends and they're cool with Apu.
I have Native American blood. Adam, thank you.
Not the same thing as Indian, but all right. But what I will say is that people are way too overly sensitive nowadays. You know what Aaron was saying. This is separate from the issue of Apu. People are just really overly sensitive today about many things, or rather, I should say, the very sensitive people now have an extremely public outlet to be offended by and be very vocal in their in being offended. So instead of just I mean, there's this episode, ironically enough, of The Simpsons where I can't remember what it's called, but where Marge is rallying against the network because she's offended by the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons, and she has this public outcry, and it's kind of The Simpsons' attempt to mock people who were who were overly critical and conservative, in their views about the show, like, oh, The Simpsons is ruining the youth of America. That was kind of their way of acknowledging that, we think your idea is stupid, but also we can kind of sympathize with where you're coming from. But those people, the people that Marge was attempting to lampoon in that show are, they now have a voice via Twitter and Facebook and that sort of stuff, where they can get a lot of public mention and notoriety, and potentially other like-minded people can kind of, they can create a very I suppose what I'm trying to say is they can create a community of like-minded people very easily now, which can pressure groups. Whether or not this is a good thing, I don't know, but this is something definitely that's happening. But I do firmly believe that there are some cases where people are just being way too sensitive about something that is meant to just be, in good humor and in good fun.
But of course, that might not be the case here, right? Because as we say, like we sort of have two ideas here, right? Like, if the character is racist, which neither me nor Adam, at the very least, feel comfortable making a determination on, if the character is genuinely racist, and if I was an Indian person, I was offended by this, I don't think that my reaction to that would be oversensitivity. Do you know what I mean? I feel like this would be the reaction if there was a racist character.
Yes, like for example, when people were offended by Mickey Rooney's, let's call it Asian face, in I forget the name of the movie, but where he's
Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah,
blackface at Tiffany's.
That would have been very ill-conceived and ironic, but no, Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, right.
Blackface at Tiffany's.
To be fair, I'm not sure if that would have made that actually more offensive. I think you hit a point of diminishing returns at some point.
So yeah, I don't. I guess that's my 2 cents on it. I don't know if this particular case it has any validity to it, and if the character is racist, nor do I really want to comment on it. But I'm just saying, in general, at large, people are a bit too sensitive about stuff these days.
I'm just surprised this is happening now. I thought this would have happened years ago. And shout out to Andrew, by the way, with the very quick recollection of what that Mickey... The dude did like thousands upon thousands of movies, and you knew it like right away.
Well, to be fair,
I know my racism, Rory.
There's only one movie in which Mickey Rooney is does a really racist caricature, as far as I'm aware.
Are you sure? There's lots of them. There's lots of Mickey Rooney movies. Let's not count them out yet.
There's also even a Mickey Rooney Simpsons episode.
Oh yeah, where Krusty the Clown does the same thing.
Well, Mickey Rooney was alive until just like a few years ago. Like, is a fun.
Pull him out of the grave. He's a racist.
Fun fact
Tell
about
him to his
Mickey
face.
Rooney, by the way, if you look at his filmography,
Pull him out of the grave and put him in a trash pile.
Almost,
like the racist piece of shit he was.
almost all the films that Mickey Rooney has done were Mickey's something, and it sort of makes for a sort
Mickey's
of like
Rooney.
like oddly like homogenous looking filmography list.
Fucking economy in this game.
What do you mean?
Well, I was looking.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah.
Complete sidetrack. I sold a horse earlier for $2. The cigar I was looking
Good
at
price.
cost $1.50. Like what?
Good price you got for that $2.
Yeah, I should have shot it and sold the
What,
meat.
did you have like a -10 in bargaining? Like what?
I don't know, man. The pants. I'm looking at a pair of pants. They're like $6. I'm like, come on now. I could fucking wear that horse.
Pair of pants.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, Adam, it looks like here in 1931, Mickey Rooney was in a film called China. So I'm not sure.
Oh no!
I haven't seen
It was The Wrestler.
but
It was
Very quick wit from.
documentary.
That's the joke of the night from Aaron.
that was on point.
Yeah.
well, I just only now am I paying attention, really.
Yeah, fair enough. You're playing. It's hard to play and do these at the exact same time.
Yeah.
I will say
Anyway.
what I'm doing right now is I'm on the podcast and I just want something to entertain my hands because I have to look at the camera and stuff.
That's what God gave you a penis for.
I'm replaying the Halo series. So I'm partway through Halo 3 now. I've already played Halo 1 and 2, and I'm gonna do ODST, Reach, and Halo 4 and 5 just because I miss playing Halo. Enjoy that game.
Not
series.
Halo Wars? You call
Um,
yourself a real fan?
I might play Halo Wars. The problem is I don't know if Halo Wars is backwards compatible. I don't even know if Reach is backwards compatible.
It is. They both are.
Okay, well then I'll probably play Halo Wars. I wasn't entirely smitten by Halo Wars.
Really?
The mechanics are pretty good in terms of what they were able to do on a console. Don't get me wrong, like that was well done. But I thought that the story. Oh, the story's pretty good. The second one was definitely weaker than the first one, but I will probably go back and play at least the first one. We'll see. I might get a bit burnt out from Halo by then, but we'll see.
I'm a little surprised because I know that you do like strategy games.
Yes, but the thing in those games is I have a tendency. I like strategy games, but it's not very good, and it's not a super in-depth strategy game.
Okay, yeah.
It's because it's an RTS. My strategy games I prefer are more like 4X games as opposed to RTS.
yeah.
Although I do like some RTS games, but my tendency in RTS games is to put it on easy and then have all my dudes form a mob and just like bunch up on the enemy and butt fuck them with my horde. And that's what I did all the time to win every single mission in Halo Wars. So I didn't feel like I was getting the full experience because I'm not very good at them. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is right now I'm playing through some Halo 2 levels I've already beaten, but I have some skulls on, and I forgot that one of the skulls in this game accelerates explosion. I believe it's called the cowbell spell or skull. And then the other one I have attached is the Scarab gun, which turns every gun you pick up into it fires the Scarab's energy blast, which absolutely decimates enemies and stuff. But it also, because I have that explosion thing on, it accelerates the objects at like light speed around the map. So I have been killed 8 times by enemies flying at me at Mach 2, and just like a jackal all of a sudden comes out of the smoke and and I'm dead, or I get killed by a box going like 100 miles an hour. It's just like Jesus Christ.
There's Oh, sorry, Karen.
One last thing. They did
Yeah.
include a new skull in this game called Bandana that gives you infinite ammo, so I thought it was a very nice touch to Metal Gear Solid 2. Infinite ammo!
So there's, by the time this comes up for our viewers, the sales will have been over, but there's a lot of Steam sales this weekend. Deep Silver's having a sale. You can pick up the Metro games for cheap. If you're, be ready for them, though. They're a lot. Like they really are. Like there's no other way to say it. And Sega's having a big sale on some of their Japanese things, and in particular, like Bayonetta is on sale, right? Which is a brilliant game. And Bayonetta, the character of Bayonetta, is one of my favorite character designs ever.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the game is top tier as well.
I honestly didn't know that.
But
why? I'm genuinely curious because I've never heard you say something like that before.
There's a couple reasons. So first of all, like in terms of good hack and slash games, there aren't like a whole lot, right? The style and flair is really important, and the art is really important in these games, to me at least, right? Yes. Like Devil May Cry does a really good job. I don't know if I've ever seen a character that blends better with the aesthetic of the game they're in than Bayonetta.
Oh, I see.
Like it's just so fitting for the game, and just for that type of game. Like she's almost, even though the game isn't that old, she's almost like the quintessential hack and slash character, with like sort of just the right amount of tropes. But the reason I'm bringing up Bayonetta is that it's not only because it's on sale, but because I just found out that Steam has marked the game as adults only, and that very much upsets me.
What?
Yeah. The game is marked as adults only. Yeah, which
Why?
is insanity. It's got a mature ESRB rating, but they've marked the page for it as adults only. I think that's insane.
Is that because she does like a Sailor Moon like transformation or something?
I mean, she definitely. Yeah, I mean that you're right. She does. She does have a a suggestive nature about her. But like, Devil May Cry is not.
Women
marked
can't be
adults only.
suggestive in video games without being labeled without it being labeled adult.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like I just don't get that. It's like, why not for Devil May Cry? Why not for Grand Theft Auto? Like, for Bayonetta,
which is by far a worse offender.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, and I think we all like Grand Theft Auto here, or at least some of the Grand Theft Auto games. We at least all like 4. So,
it's funny that wouldn't be marked as adult, right? In a game where you can pick up a prostitute and in first person watch her ride you.
Yeah, exactly.
No nudity, but it's still pretty fucking sexual.
Yeah, can't do that. Can't do anything like that in Bayonetta. I'm not sure what the bias is there, but I'm sure there is one.
It's got killed by an elite going Mach 2.
I just wanted to sort of recount this. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day. Now that Soul Calibur is out, and as we mentioned, it's sort of like people are taking note who wouldn't ordinarily buy a fighting game, and I have a friend of mine who was one of those people who mentioned he used to play Soul Calibur, the old games, like, Soul Calibur 2 and 3 back in the day. And he was very excited because now that marijuana is legal here, he can recreate his old Soul Calibur gaming experience.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Funny. I've never seen, like, the only way that could have been a more, like, accurate portrayal of two worlds meeting that are like completely. It's like a symbiotic relationship, Weed and Soul Calibur.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the two,
yeah.
like Eddie Brock and the symbiote. Like we exist together now.
Did anyone see? I meant to ask the group actually. Did anyone ever get out to see Venom in the end?
Nope.
No, I didn't either.
It got so apocalyptically low reviewer scores from everybody that I was like, no, I'm not going to bother spending money on this. I'm going to wait for it to come out on Netflix because, frankly, I've spent enough money on shitty movies this year.
But do you know
the people I have spoken to that have actually seen it?
Yeah,
they both recommended it to me.
So,
did they?
But this is one of the things I wanted to mention is that although it has a 30% on the tomato meter, the audience scores 88%, which is one of the biggest differences I've ever seen.
Jesus.
So that's like significant. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna. Maybe there's gonna be one of those things like The Outsider, where I think it's really good and critics hate it.
To be
Andrew,
fair,
you saw it. What'd you think of it?
It's not like I'm going on like Metacritic and being like, like it's got a really low score, I'm not gonna go see it. Like I went to like several reviewers that I like trust the opinion of, and they're all like, "This is a shitty movie, man." Like, and I like Marvel movies, that kind of thing. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're onto something. Maybe I should just not bother.
I heard Mark Kermode said there were things about it that were really good. There were points in it where it was a really fun movie. but that wasn't the whole. He said it's like 3 different movies. Watching it, which I don't know. I'm getting weird like flashbacks to like those old multi-director movies. You remember when those used to happen more often?
Was that a thing?
Yeah, like there's been a couple instances in history where like a couple directors have worked on a project, and it's like the most recent one would have been Justice League, right?
Oh God.
Where you get sort of very 2 different vibes from a single film.
Suppose in that way AI was similar to that.
Yeah, actually, that's a great example, I think.
Although not by design.
Yeah. I guess the circumstances were different there, but I think that's everything on the topic list, and that's everything I wanted to mention.
Yeah, I'm good.
I would recommend that whenever you're using a pocket knife at work, do not be an idiot. Cut away from you. Make sure your fingers.
I was
not in the
hoping
way.
we wouldn't mention this.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because you were moaning in pain earlier, and I thought it would be funny if we made no mention of it at all.
Oh, okay. The reason I was moaning in pain is because the cable from my my headphones dropped onto my finger, and I like sliced my finger open today, and I had like a bunch of stitches in it, and it's really really tender. So that's why I moaned in pain earlier, because like my headphone cable like landed on. I was like, because man, she's tender.
Yeah, no shit.
It's you know,
So
Sorry
don't-
that happened to you, man.
I mean, it's my fault. I would like. It's not like some idiot at work or anything. Like I was the idiot at work who did this. This was entirely me. So be careful with knives, kids. Although here's the thing, I found out that my knife is really sharp. So there we go. So I guess there's one thing out of it.
Oh man, Peter, where you at here?
One of the early
God
guys
damn.
to go up to space, when he came back down, he was up in space for some prolonged period of time. And I guess they didn't really know about muscle atrophy back then. And when he came down, they asked him what the first thing he remembered was in like an interview sometime later. And he said he remembered the excruciating pain when they laid a blanket on him. That's how weak his muscles were.
Wow.
So that's sort of what it reminded me of when you mentioned like a headphone, like even something small like that, right? It's like that tender that it feels terrible.
This happens every time I have an injury or every time I have a cold, but as soon as a part of my body is not working at 100%, I'm like, I miss the days when, like, whenever you get, like, the sniffles or your nose is blocked up, you're like, I will never, forever, ever again take for granted not having a stuffed up nose.
Yeah, exactly. When I have back pain, I'm like, I remember what it was like to walk free of pain. And it's
Remember
like,
what it was like to feel normal?
you start to remember, like you start to look fondly on like dumb stuff, like walking down to check the mail and stuff like that.
Yeah. God damn. Nah,
Did you say going down to check the mail is fun stuff?
No, but it's dumb stuff. Like it's going down to check the mail seems terrible until like you can't walk pain free, and then it's like I used to move freely in my environment. Yeah.
What I was talking about or freaking out about in my game, I shot a whatever the hell animal this is, and it didn't die, but it like fell over and was like trying to run, but it was on its side. And yeah, so I had to stab it.
That's tragic.
Blood out. Yeah.
It's like a dude I met down at the gun store. He was like, "Yeah, I'm a really good hunter." And he was telling me about a hunting story where he shot this coyote, and he said, "Yeah, and I shot it in the back of, in the hindquarters, and the thing was crying, so I went to put it out of its misery. So I shot it again, and I missed the head, and I shot it in the gut. Shot it again, got the gut again. So he ended up having to shoot the thing 8 times before he finally killed him. I'm like, Jesus Christ! And it wasn't like he was at a distance. He was like 20 meters away or something, just like aiming at it. Thing wasn't moving. It was crying out in pain. I'm like, you fucking psychopath.
Yeah, that's madness. Yeah.
I mean, like, that's pretty much how he was describing. Now, I don't know if he's, like, full of shit or anything, but, like,
like no meat or pelt left. You
No.
complete waste. I blew its face off and it was still running around.
And then a guy at the another time at the gun store. I don't go to the gun store for myself, by the way. My boss is into sports shooting. But this guy was talking about how he's one of the nuts in this province that has a 50 cal, and he was bragging about it. And he said, "Yeah, I was hunting bear and I shot the bear with the 50 cal. Anyway, it ruined the pelt of the bear because it went out two sides and it like blew a massive hole in the pelt."
Shit.
I'm like, well, no, like you're shooting a bullet that's supposed to take out engine blocks and lightly armored military
really.
vehicles. Like I'm at a mile away. Like, what were you expecting? These up-armored bears wandering around in like Mjolnir armor from Halo. I mean, like, oh, I gotta get this 50 cal.
Andrew.
Yeah.
So I was rewatching Marco Polo recently, the Netflix series.
I didn't see that.
No, that was where I was going with it.
Okay.
You gotta watch that.
Oh. What?
You have to watch it, the show.
Oh, okay. Why?
You'd love it. I'm gonna say,
right.
I think you in particular would love it.
It's like Game of Thrones, but good.
When I started telling you that, I forgot we were still doing the podcast.
Yeah, can we end so I can go back to playing Red Dead?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next week, and we're even gonna have a Halloween episode for you coming up.
Maybe.
So there's lots of
Spookums.
There's lots of scary things gonna happen.
Oh, there's gonna be spookums.
Oh yeah, there's also before we sign off here, GTA did a thing where you could like blow up the radar when you press down on the D-pad. Red Dead goes one further with that, and when you press down on the D-pad, it gives you options to expand and also hide the HUD.
Oh, okay.
So you don't need to like pause and go into the settings and turn the shit off. You can do whatever you want without having to pause the game. It's very nice. Anyway, yeah. Just one of the many things in this game. Play this game, and that's my final thought.
That's your takeaway?
Yeah, something just flew out of the bushes. I think I stepped on something. Oh, bird hit my horse and died. 10 out of 10. All right, well, that's my takeaway. Was see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.